Okay, so I'm going to have some students tell you why orchestra is a good thing for them. So here they are. Our first one, who was it going to be? I don't know, they arm wrestled about it. I can't remember who won the, oh, Zariel on cello. This is Zariel, everybody.
So one thing that orchestra's taught me about for like my 2 years is that teamwork is really crucial in an environment like this, because if one person messes up, then it messes up the whole organism of the thing.
Hi, my name's Noah, and one thing I think such as with current teenagers nowadays, their mental health is really terrible, or not terrible, but like, it's not good in a sense, but I just think it really helps me relax, and it helps anybody relax with very stressful situations and in stressful manners.
Hi, I'm Haley, and orchestra really teaches you about patience. And overall, with patience, you have to really start with knowing the people around you to understand how to follow along and work together.
Hi, I'm Ace. One thing I've learned about orchestra is that it's not only a lifelong hobby, it makes you lifelong friends just along the way. You meet so many new people and go to so many places, and it also helps you recognize patterns with other subjects such as math.
Any takers? No? Okay. True story for me. Yeah, you get better at patterns like Ace just said. And I got into a college because of my cello playing. They said, hey, what did you take in high school? Oh, I see you took 4 years of orchestra. Do you play an instrument? Yeah, cello. Do you read music? Yeah. Will you play in our college orchestra? Sure. That's what got me in. I mean, I had a D+ in geometry. They didn't care about my 2 years of German language or anything like that. They just said, hey, we need culture at the college, man. This brings people together. We had a bluegrass band and a jazz band. I mean, you can play stand-up bass or, there's so many things you can do with music. It'll take you so many places. And, I have a lot of friends who are well into their 80s, very active people going to.
Madam President?
Thank you so much. I personally greatly appreciate the effort. And could we take a group picture?
Before we do that, we did have one person that wanted to speak on this recognition. Would that be
Oh, yes.
to take them now before the picture while the
Yes.
orchestra's still here? David Boehm?
I'm really sorry to interrupt the picture, but 3 quick things. I've had the pleasure of listening to them all school year. They are amazing, and the improvement over time has been amazing. Number 2, on Mother's Day, I get to honor the memory of my mother, who passed about a year ago today. yesterday. One of the most powerful moments she had in a memory care home very close to East Lake Middle was listening to an orchestra like this and jogging their memories. Again, crossing generations. And number 3, because of some things I'm going to talk about later, I just wanted to ask these students and any other students, either who are in 8th grade now or 9th or 10th and looking back, would you have liked the opportunity, or did you like the opportunity to have world geography as a 9th grade social studies course? Okay. Okay, good. More on that later. Thank you.
Okay, so let's go up for a picture.
By the way, how many of you were beginners last year? Beginner.
Just begin.
Oh, she started this year.
It doesn't happen a lot more days.
I was,
No, I think they're good. Ready, 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Okay. Going back. They are an amazing group. I have watched them. I've watched the 7th graders perform during 8th grade promotion for East Lake Middle, and I was blown away. It was just beautiful, beautiful music. Okay, moving along. The board is now honored to recognize the Olympian High School boys basketball team for winning the CIF Division II championship title. This was their 2nd consecutive CIF title, capping an impressive season where they finished 26-7 overall and earned a top 5 ranking in the San Diego. Please help me congratulate and honor Coach Marty Ellis and the Olympian High boys basketball team on their championship season. Come on up, guys. Coach, would you like to say a few words?
First of all, thank you guys for actually recognizing us and giving this opportunity to come down here and represent Chula Vista Olympian area. So these gentlemen, I've had them all since middle school, since Rancho Del Rey. So I've had them a quite while. They're all 3.5 GPA. We have a huge. We have a huge standard at Olympian, and again, I think, the staff, Vicky, I think the APs that are there, I mean, they support these guys all the way down. I think my coaches, Coach Davis, Coach Kevin, and again, these are some gentlemen. If you've not seen a game, you get one more opportunity to come out to Olympian and see them. They're short, but we always get the underdog. Looks is always deceiving, but these guys are rugrats. And they're everywhere. So if you've not had a chance to see them, get an opportunity to see them. Also, I want to thank the parents that came out as well that actually helped me support them, and they support them to support me. And I want to thank you guys. Thank you.
All right. I have certificates, and we're also going to take a picture. Oh.
Parents, feel free to come forward and take a picture. Don't be shy.
You guys want to try to do 2 rows? 2 rows? Let's try and do 2 rows, guys.
Congratulations, and thank you so much for sharing. Okay. The board would now like to recognize the Otay Ranch High School girls basketball team who won the CIF Division II championship for the first time in school history. The team was 26-6 in the regular season with a perfect 6-0 run in league play to secure the first ever league championship. They defeated Bishop High School to clinch the CIF title with a final score of 45-29. Wow. Please help me congratulate Coach Renee Barrera and the Otay Ranch High girls basketball team. Come on up, ladies. Some words, Coach?
I got it written right here. Well, first of all, I want to thank God for helping to coach at Otay Ranch High School and extend my gratitude to Principal Alcala, my AD, Yad Rachel, Mr. Tapia from ASB. I'd like to thank for the support. Also for that board, to have us here. Coach Rico is my JV coach and my assistant coach at Otay. First year, basically it was a lucky charm for this year because we won it. I'd like to thank the players, coaches, parents, managers, families, and friends of players who support their program throughout the year. This is my 9th year coaching at Otay, and we are thrilled with our team accomplishments. Sorry for my Mexican. One of the big reasons that we have success this season is our team's leadership, of our senior leaders, our players' dedication, and competitive spirit that we made all the difference and we won the championship. thank you for having us here. And this is our team. Thank you.
Thank you. I have certificates, and again, we're going to do a group picture. Wait, there's more. Isn't this a fun meeting? The board is now pleased to recognize the winners of the Community Schools Logo Contest. For the past 2 years, the district has been working with 12 potential community school sites. As part of this effort, this logo contest was held as an opportunity for students to design a logo that captures the heart of what community schools represent. There were 56 student logo submissions from 12 school sites, and the Community School Steering Committee selected the winners after evaluations and interviews. We would like to congratulate the third place winner, Lily Guzman. You're going to get a little special something, so hold on. Okay. We would like to congratulate now our second place winner, Alura Douglas. And our first place went to Carmi Hurtado from Montgomery. Karimi? Okay. I was part of the committee, and one of the things that I said is that I would personally give the winner $100 for their effort. So yes, we have those things for them. Let's take a picture. and we still have more. So excited. This is such a fun meeting. Now the board is very honored to recognize the 5 Sweetwater District Teachers of the Year. Each of these teachers were named as their school side Teacher of the Year, and then went on to be named to represent the district at the county level. We are very proud of their dedication and commitment to bettering the lives of future generations, every day inside and outside of the classroom. Please help me congratulate the District Teachers of the Year, Miguel Marin from Granger Junior High, Allison Saki from Olympian High, Arlene Matsui from Otay Ranch, Marty Welch Doyle from Mar Vista High, and Valerie Ingram from Chula Vista High. And I have certificates for you. We're going to do a group picture. Yay. He said 1, 2, 3. I was like, go for it. Teachers, thank you so much for your dedication and willingness to always go over and beyond to address the students, their parents, and your colleagues. We will now have a message. No more fun stuff.
Now the fun begins.
God.
I'm here.
I've missed you. Anyway, we will now have a message from Superintendent Dr. Moises Aguirre.
Thank you, President Lopez Cepeda. And good evening, buenas tardes to everybody, bienvenidos, and welcome to our May 12th, 2025 Board of Education meeting. Before I begin, I wanted to also extend my congratulations belatedly to all the mothers here and anybody who's watching us online. Happy Mother's Day. Also wanted to extend my gratitude, I know it's been mentioned before, but also want to do it as well, to all the teachers in our district, since last week was Teacher Appreciation Week. Everything that you do, and I think today was a wonderful example of all the great work that goes to support our students, whether it's academics, visual and performing arts, athletics. It fills my heart with gratitude, joy, and pride, quite frankly, to see our students thriving. And it's because of all the work that everybody does. In this particular instance, we're thanking teachers, but I know it takes a village. So it's counselors, it's administrators, it's board members, it's community members. So I really am in a place where I wanted to extend my gratitude for everything you do, since last week was Teacher Appreciation Week. All right, well, this meeting will be our last meeting where our schools are still in session. It came quite quickly this time, it feels so. By the time our next board meeting occurs, our schools will have completed graduation and promotion ceremonies. With that, I will get into the meat of our updates. As you can tell, there's a lot going on. So first and foremost, I met with teachers who will be teaching ethnic studies next year to convey our district's commitment to ensuring that all of our diverse students see themselves in the curriculum through ethnic studies, of particular importance given the diversity in our district. I think that's very important to underscore. Also had the opportunity to attend the Adult School Career Resource Fair, National City Adult. And it was a wonderful event out in National City. We had a lot of folks out there. We also had a number of students, community members. It was a great resource fair at National City Adult. I had an opportunity to attend the 32nd annual Adelante Mujer Conference located at UC San Diego. Thank you to everybody who participated as well as those who helped to organize and facilitate it. I had an opportunity to attend a cybersecurity summit organized and convened by the San Diego County Office of Education and located at University of San Diego, and it was specific for superintendents, so a lot of great information there in terms of cybersecurity. Thank you to the San Diego County Office of Education. I also had an opportunity to attend a community clinic in partnership with VSP that was located in Imperial Beach. In particular, I want to thank South Bay School District for facilitating that event at their district office. It was a great opportunity to have students be screened to do vision screenings in case they need glasses. Also attended the Aspiring Administrators Academy, their in essence culminating event. Thank you to all those who participated and facilitated. Of particular note, I wanted to extend my gratitude to Dr. Winters and Mr. John Patel for the facilitating and coordinating and convening of that event. I had an opportunity to attend the Black Student Union Rites of Passage event at the Professional Development Center. That facility was beyond full, and what a wonderful way to support our African American scholars. And truly, it was a wonderful family gathering, and it really demonstrates how we can come together as a district to support all of our students, in this case, our African American students. I also attended the 9th grade leadership portfolio presentations at Granger Junior High School. What a great way for our students to showcase their work and their leadership at Granger Junior High. Way to go, Griffins. I also attended the Chula Vista Rotary Club luncheon last week, where they awarded a number of scholarships to Sweetwater students who are on their way to college. Again, also extending gratitude to the Chula Vista Rotary for that great support. There was also the Association of California School Administrators, ACSA, and California School Boards Association, CSBA, event known as Honoring Our Own, where our very own trustee Marty Emerald received a coveted award, and where Dr. Jay Marquand from the adult schools also received an award as Administrator of the Year for Adult Schools. Congratulations to both Trustee Emerald and Dr. Marquand. Way to make us proud. And lastly, I attended the 3rd annual signing ceremony for San Ysidro High School, where high school seniors were recognized and where they shared what colleges and universities they will be attending next year. And this is just a sampling of all the wonderful events that are going on across the district. Also wanted to make note of athletics. As you saw earlier, it was a very busy month. Two updates I wanted to share is the Eastlake High School girls beach volleyball team captured the San Diego CIF Section Division II Beach Volleyball Championship. Congratulations to the Eastlake team. And on May 2nd, the Metro Conference hosted the 3rd annual Women in Sports Day located at Otay Ranch High School, with Ms. Cristina Murguia, a 2025 inductee, being the keynote speaker. She shared some of her experiences growing up in the South Bay. It just kind of gets me tired just going through all of these. It was a busy, busy month. And I want to say we're so proud of all the work going on across our district and across our community, because it really goes towards supporting our students. And what a wonderful way to reflect our commitment to our community, to our students, to our staff. It is incredibly humbling to hear the wonderful activities and events going on across our district to support our students. And as we wind down to the 24-25 school year, I want to congratulate all of our graduating seniors as well as promoting middle school students. As you prepare to go out into the world, please know that you have people here at Sweetwater who are cheering for you and your continued success. And with that, I'm going to say let's get on with the rest of this meeting, and thank you for the opportunity to serve.
Okay, next we have, the board would like to welcome the DLAC President Larissa Vergara and the DPAC President Beatriz Sanchez Belvins, who will present the DLAC report to the board. Oh, hold on.
Here you go. All right. Good evening, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Aguirre, and to everybody in this room. I just want to say thank you for this opportunity to speak. Yes, my name is Larissa Vergara Peterson, and as the current District Learner Advisory Committee DLAC President, I'm here tonight representing all DLAC members, parents, to summarize our recent meetings. I also have a daughter who's a 9th grader attending Montgomery High School. So go Aztecs. Yes, go Aztecs. So at our recent DLAC meeting from December 2024 to April 2025, we reviewed data from the California dashboard presented by our very own Dr. Dan Winters. Thank you, sir. Our Assistant Superintendent of Leadership Development and Innovation. Also, Dr. Ana Maria Alvarez, our Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning, shared the insights on the 2024-2025 Local Accountability Plan, which is LCAP, which focuses on ensuring excellence in teaching and learning to prepare our students for college and career success, among other topics. Our state and federal program office introduced the district semester 2 parent engagement program, while Ms. Maria Esther Lizarraga, our executive director of curriculum instruction, provided an overview on the Title III plan and our district English learner master plan, which is ELMP, and also seeking feedback from our DLAC members and parents. Additionally, Dr. Winters and Ms. Lizarraga presented the 2025-2026 LCAP budget and budget plans, incorporating parent feedback for further review and input. I want to emphasize that our committee and parent discussions, along with their feedback, play a vital role in shaping the educational experiences and success of our English learner. The suggestions and feedback have been submitted to this board for a review and consideration, and I do hope that you will look into it. The parent feedback and suggestions are it's very important for our committee. That is all I have to report. I know you have a summary of our meeting, and on behalf of all DLAC members and parents, thank you for your time. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I do want to pass the mic to my counterpart, Ms. Blevins, our DPAC president.
Okay, good evening, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Aguirre. My name is Beatriz Sanchez Blevins, and more importantly, I'm Jacob's mom, Sophia's mom, and Ariana's mom. And I'm here to represent District Parent Advisory Council, DPAC. In our meetings from December 2024 through April 2025, we engaged in comprehensive discussions and provided valuable feedback on several key topics. The Office of State and Federal Programs presented the 2024-2025 Local Accountability Plan, LCAP, goals 1 through 3, emphasizing the importance of fostering parent, guardian, community engagements to support student success among topics. Additionally, Mr. Ricardo Gomez introduced after-school programs and interventions, and Dr. Jenny Salked reviewed the LCAP budget addressing parent questions and feedback. We also discussed Sweetwater Union High School District compliance with CDE teacher requirements and Title I plan and budget. Furthermore, we announced the vacancy of the vice president position and appointed Diana Borrego as a new vice president based on our bylaws. Parents were encouraged to respond to a topic survey to better serve their needs, ensuring our continued commitment to excellence in education. And with that being said, I encourage you to, and I know you may have already done so, but really look into the input to the local accountability plan that the parents, the surveys that they filled out. I've been at these meetings. Last year I was vice president. This year I'm president. And I feel like, you know, I learned things thanks to the Ms. Kashani and her team. I learned really quick, but not enough time. And once you start getting to know the program, you think, oh, wow, my time's up. You know, I gotta go. But luckily for me, I'm president now, so I was able to come back. And what I noticed, and from the parents, that there is lack of engagement. And I'm not going to pretend that I know exactly why that is. There's many variables out there. But what is important to me in my heart, and based on the comments that other parents have said, is that we need to support our students. The culture needs to shift to, of course, engaging parents, but the district needs to bring more to identify these students, the next scientists, the next philosophers, the next astronauts, the next baseball players, et cetera, the next teachers above all. We need to bring community to these children. We need to, or young ladies and gentlemen, some of them are graduating, we need to give them resources like maybe programs that allow for them to be teachers in their community. Just little examples. But what's most important is we need to identify those kids in the corner that maybe don't cause any trouble, because let's be honest, the straight A students and the students who cause the trouble get the attention. But those students that are sitting in the corner, we need to pull them into the light, and all children, of course, all students, and identify those next leaders in our society, in our community, because we need kids, students from this district, this barrios, to raise up and come out and be the next superintendent, the next Madam President, et cetera, et cetera. And I want to thank you for your time. And again, I thank you to the DLAC president. It's been an honor to work with her. And I have to give it up to Ms. Kashani and her team. Once again, amazing, amazing people. Thank you and have a good evening, all of you.
Thank you so much for sharing. Okay. The board will now consider Board Agenda G20, Report on Ethnic Studies.
Thank you, President Lopez Cepeda. So for this item, the teaching and learning team, led by Dr. Alvarez, is going to be presenting and providing an update regarding ethnic studies. I know there's been some question as to how it's rolling out, so we asked Dr. Alvarez and her team to put together a presentation. Dr. Alvarez?
Good afternoon, President Lopez Cepeda, Dr. Aguirre, board members, and our community members. This afternoon, we will be providing a brief overview of the process that we've used to initiate ethnic studies in the district. Ms. Lizarraga, our Executive Director for Curriculum and Instruction, will be guiding most of the presentation. We are waiting for our teacher on special assignment, who I think may have just stepped out for a moment, Mr. Don Dumas. But if Mr. Dumas doesn't return in time, Ms. Lizarraga and I will lead the presentation. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, Board President. It's an honor to be here to talk about ethnic studies in our district. So we have our presenters, Dr. Alvarez, Don Dumas, Frida Hernandez, our student, sent a message. She wasn't able to be here, but she has a message that we can share with you. And our student video of Isabela Gutierrez, a student also at Bonita Vista High School. The law of establishing ethnic studies, Assembly Bill 1460, was from August 2020. Oh, there he is. Ethnic studies became a CSU graduation requirement. Assembly Bill 101 came about in October of 2021, where ethnic studies becomes a California high school graduation requirement and must be implemented in the fall of 2025. A brief history of our journey here at Sweetwater. Many of our students back in 2018 came to the board and asked and petitioned the board to offer ethnic studies in our district. A former student and board president, Desiree Adamos from Olympian High School, was an advocate of this class. In 2019 and 2020, we began offering ethnic studies as a pilot at Southwest High. In 2020 and 2021, we have a series of schools, Bonita Vista High, Montgomery High, Castle Park, Otay Ranch, Mar Vista, Sweetwater, all offered ethnic studies with teachers planning regularly to make sure that they were doing a great job with the course. And now in 2024-25, almost all of our schools are offering ethnic studies. So we're excited about that. And how did we get here? Between 2019 and the spring of 2025, teachers, principals, district leaders, students, and community members met regularly to discuss the progress of our course as it was piloted and discuss for the best options.
Hello, everyone. I was upstairs in my office planning the PD for tomorrow, and I thought I had a little more time, but I'm glad that I made it in here. So yeah, I was one of the early teachers in the district teaching ethnic studies, and was part of the group that was building lessons and working together. And when we met with our couple of years of experience teaching the course, we understood that offering the course for a year was imperative because you have to set up conditions for learning. You have to set up trust, student to student, student to teacher, to discuss some of the things that you're going to discuss in ethnic studies. So we felt a 2-semester course was absolutely imperative, so that's what we lobbied for. Principals in the group also felt that offering the course to freshmen gets you more of a return on your investment in the course. When you see some of the benefits that you're going to get from ethnic studies, it's best to get those benefits in early so that the students benefit throughout their entire high school career. And also, of course, principals, you know, what they're concerned about too is master schedule. And doing it a year long for freshmen just made that infinitely smoother and easier and able to maintain. So, next year, thanks to the decision of this board and the state of California, of course, every incoming freshman will take year-long ethnic studies in order to graduate, right? Which is what the state said, to roll it out by 25-26, and the class of 2030 will have to have it to graduate. So, I wanted to share with you, though, like we just mentioned earlier, we've been doing ethnic studies in our district for quite some time now. So we have some data. And so, as you know, the California Healthy Kids Survey is given every year. And so one of the questions on there was students to ask them if they agree or strongly agree with the following statements. Students pay attention in class, students try their best in school, students are motivated to learn, they turn in their homework on time. Overall, just 24% of students agreed or strongly agreed with those statements. But ethnic studies students, 85% of them agreed with those statements. Another question, same type. Students and teachers at this school respect each other's differences. For example, gender, race, culture, sexual orientation. Teachers show that it's important for students of different races and cultures to get along with each other. Overall, Healthy Kids Survey, 48% agreed, either strongly or regular agree. And for ethnic studies students, 94% agreed or strongly agreed. So, you know, we see from this data that ethnic studies has the power to really transform the experience that our students have in our classes, in our sites, in our district. So we're very excited about what this is going to mean when this goes, you know, district-wide and every freshman takes it. We really believe we're going to see these trends continue. And so the state of California put out in their model curriculum, they've also looked at data, of course. A lot of this comes from a very extensive Stanford study. And this is what they came to, which was that ethnic studies led to an increase in attendance, an increase in standardized test scores, an increase in GPA in math and science. We're not even talking about ethnic studies. Students who took ethnic studies graduated with higher rates, enrolled in college in higher rates, and reported better social emotional wellness. So the data is there. We're very thrilled that our district is going to have this. So what is ethnic studies? It's really a term that is an umbrella term for 4 core fields. Indigenous Studies, African American Studies, Latinx Studies, and Asian and Pacific Islander Studies. And what you see under these columns here are the guiding values and principles. And I know they're under a particular column, but really those guiding values and principles are for all core four. So you see some very important things there, like, you know, challenging racist beliefs and practices, celebrating and honor Native peoples, promote hope and healing. That's what ethnic studies is. It's important to remember it's not just one long telling of bad things that happen. It is an empowering course where students learn about examples of people that look like them and share their same cultural backgrounds and learning how they have achieved. So that's, you know, what the course is about. There are 4 themes to ethnic studies. So ethnic studies will be taught with a thematic approach in our district per the state's model curriculum. Those themes are identity, history and movement, systems of power, social movements, and equity. And you see those 4 bullets under there are the 8 key outcomes of ethnic studies as determined by the state of California. You see some great things in there as well. Developing a better understanding of others, working toward greater inclusivity, pursuit of equity and justice. So these are the 8 key outcomes. So now we have here some testimony from a ethnic studies student. She was in my class. And so we'll see what she has to say.
Ethnic studies I've absolutely loved and adored. I've learned so much about different cultures, just history, and even current events that I have not learned in any other class. It's truly a remarkable thing to learn in a school setting, and I think it's really revolutionary, truly. And so yeah, I love ethnic studies. It's really informational, and I think it's a very needed class, and it's truly a privilege to learn what I did in this class, and I hope that this class continues at Bonita Vista High School.
All right, that was Isabella Gutierrez, and we were going to have a student from Southwestern, current freshman, come, but she wasn't able to make it to speak, but luckily we have her fantastic and amazing teacher, Miss Bianca Huntley, and Miss Huntley will share what her student had to say about the course.
Hello, my student's name is Frida, and she wrote, "This class has taught me to never give up on life. Many people fought for their own rights without giving up and constantly having strikes and protests to fight for their independence. I look up to my ancestors and the history of ethnic studies daily because it reminds me how life keeps going. I think this class is important for young people to take because you learn about important strikes, different values in life, and how important it is to take this class because you learn about things you will not find in a regular history book. I would describe the classroom community as comforting because in ethnic studies, most of our assignments are with groups, and I feel more calm and relaxed."
Thank you, Ms. Huntley. Ms. Huntley, as you see here, this is what we're doing now. She's part of the Ethnic Studies Working Group. You have me, I'm the Ethnic Studies TOSA, of course, Ms. Huntley from Southwest. We have Mr. Medina, also at Southwest, Ms. Sigala from Hilltop. We all work together to plan and develop PDs. That's what we're doing now. We're up in the treehouse putting in these hours to make sure our colleagues around the district are prepared next year. Other contributors include Rosanita Hernandez, who was the social science TOSA for the last several years. We have Ms. Mansfield at Montgomery, Ms. Elam at Sioux High. They're all regular contributors and collaborators to our ever-growing lessons stash that we have. And of course, myself and Ms. Sukma and Ms. Cancino from their SPED TOSAs, we work together to develop the proper lesson modifications in ethnic studies. What's going on next is we have 3 more professional developments this year. We've already done 3. We have 3 more. We have 2 more PDs over fall break or summer break. Next year, every site will have an ethnic studies PLC. Although ethnic studies is offered at just about every site right now, some of them, there's only 1 teacher that does it. So, but next year, of course, every site will have 3, 4, 5 teachers that teach ethnic studies, and so they'll be able to PLC next year. We have 4 more professional developments planned for next school year. We have a whole wide range of books from various authors of diverse backgrounds that our teachers have access to. We have an instructional guide that's based on the state's model curriculum. And of course, the TOSA position, which was created this year, and I'm the first person to hold it. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And just going around to the different sites and speaking to the teachers, there's a spirit of sharing and eagerness amongst most of the teachers. We're also working to further develop our English language collaboration supports with the English language TOSA and ELD TOSA. And so now I figured, since ethnic studies is going to be district-wide, it's going to be important that our board and our superintendent know, what ethnic studies is about and maybe even get to participate a little bit, okay? So in ethnic studies, we have these things called cultural energizers. Sometimes they're land acknowledgements or ancestor acknowledgements where you bring in somebody from your family who has led by example, something you want to do. But there's also this poem recitation. This is what I would do in my classroom every day because this is meant to really focus the students on what our goal is every day we come in this classroom, what we're trying to accomplish. So this poem was written by Luis Valdez. He was a veteran of the farm workers movement, and it is an attempt to capture the spirit of Maya society and how they viewed each other. So this is what's gonna happen, okay? You ready? I'm gonna say in Lakesh, that's the title of the poem. And then you're gonna repeat to me in Lakesh, okay? And then I'm going to say the Spanish line, and you're going to say the corresponding English line. Are we ready?
Yes.
I know, there's a lot of degrees up there, a lot of doctorates and stuff. So don't let the freshmen, do you bet. Okay, here we go. Ready? En Lakesh.
In Lakesh.
Tú eres mi otro yo.
You are my other me.
Si te hago daño a ti,
If I do harm to you,
me hago daño a mí mismo.
I do harm to myself.
Si te amo y respeto,
If I love and respect you,
me amo y respeto yo.
I love and respect myself.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what we do every day in the ethnic studies class. So thank you all so much for your time. I hope that this was informative, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Mr. Dumas.
Yes.
Just so you know, I would do this poem myself with my kiddos every day.
See?
Yes.
It's so affirming, right?
Yes.
And it gives the students confidence, of course, and they just start to support each other,
Yes.
And then they'll start to check each other. If somebody does something wrong, hey, in Lakesh, bro, in Lakesh.
Yes.
Madam President, we have two speakers who would like to address this item.
Of course.
Kathleen Cheers.
I know it'll come as a surprise to you all, but I am very opinionated. And I'm so opinionated on this topic that I've got two speeches. I'll give another. This is the second part of the speech. As you all know, I research everything. This topic is no different. In everything I have read, watched, listened to, I have not heard one counter perspective to ethnic studies borders on logical. Fuel for thought. If the district would have simply overhauled their history classes, incorporated honest ethnic curriculum, provided film speakers detailing ethnic history without using the word ethnic, would the current outcry persist? I think not. Ergo, what we have here is divisiveness, whitewashed racism. In closing, I had a conversation with someone I know. He's Mexican, a good man. He too was against the ethnic course. As I persisted to query the why of his criticism, it became clear. The word ethnic, translated by some to him, equates to black. He fears the focus will be on the manner we treated what he referred to as poor blacks. It is important to acknowledge a robust ethnic studies curriculum intent is not to vilify, but rather to educate. I have lived a long life. I am planning to make it to 100 for you. As you all have witnessed, I interject personal history in an attempt to offer insight and potential results of decisions made. I applaud Sweetwater's decision to incorporate ethnic studies into its curriculum. I am of the belief it will offer students insight into each other's background and have the potential to bridge gaps, resulting in a stronger student body district-wide. There is a saying, when you know better, you do better. If nothing else, this course will hopefully cause students to understand the truth of how it all came to be. Hopefully those who have concerns will be respectful enough to wait before criticizing what has not yet been presented, but you already did. Give it a chance for your child's sake. In the words of Martin Luther King, I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. In the words of Cesar Chavez, who I knew, si se puede, translated, yes, it can be done. In the words of Buddha, peace comes from within. What you think, you become. In the words of JFK, life is never easy. There is work to be done and obligations to be met, obligations to truth, justice, and to liberty. Filipino leader Emilio Aguinaldo, we cannot free ourselves unless we move forward united in a single desire. American Indian leader Sitting Bull, let us put our minds together and see what life we can make for our children. Thank you very much.
David Boehm.
Good evening. Would it be possible to bring up slide 7 again in the presentation? And this. I had the pleasure of addressing you last time and asking a question why this was being imposed on this coming class, which is the class of 2029. And what I found after some very useful consultations with the district, and please again, this is all in support of ethnic studies. But this board approved ethnic studies as a graduation requirement for 2030 in your December meeting, for the class of 2030, the current 7th graders, not the current 8th graders, not the rising freshmen, but the ones who are in 7th grade right now. Thus my concern from last time about why the rush, to put it simply. Again, no problem with the course as being discussed, but how did we get to that point wasn't really answered in this presentation. What we have instead is every incoming freshman will take a year-long course in order to graduate. That's not the state mandate. The state mandate was to offer the course this coming school year. If it was offered, and why I'm making a point on this, stressing this particular point, I'll have others later, I promise, but this year has resulted in a forced choice for the class of 2029 because the district apparently was unable to find funding to offer both world geography and ethnic studies. If it was a question of ethnic studies as the requirement for the class of 2030, meaning the current 7th graders, fine. But for this class, who was not informed and could not have been informed because your decision was for the class of 2030, and I say this as the parent of 2 8th graders, but also as a friend of at least 35 now 8th graders who have questions about this, and you just saw 8 of them from Eastlake Middle School saying they would like the option. I can't understand why the option can't be offered. It's too late now for that. I understand that for the next school year, and that's regrettable. What I would ask is that this board and the district emphasize that parents of incoming 9th graders, and when they're in 9th grade, whether they're taking ethnic studies or AP Human Geography, will be given maximum flexibility in any case-by-case appeals so that this requirement doesn't have the force of what the board decided. The board decided the class of 2030. That's what should be applied. I'll have more points later. And again, please don't misunderstand my tone or my words to be anything against district staff. I think that was an incredible presentation. I've heard even more about how well they've done and the effort and the energy that's been put into this. However, there are a lot of questions, as you just heard from another speaker, and as I'll raise in a little while. I would just ask for maximum flexibility to treat this on a case-by-case basis. Thank you.
No further speakers.
Okay.
Comments?
I want to say thank you, Dr. Alvarez, Don, and Dr. Lazarica. I think this is an important part. I mean, I just attended community college, Council of Community Colleges, Ethnic Studies Faculty Symposium, where we actually all met, either virtually or physically, for ethnic studies. And I forget, I've been in English too long, I think, teaching English too long. I forget the affirmation that it is to be doing ethnic studies as a Chicano studies professor. I forget the sense of belonging because I think the academia can be kind of isolating, and I forget, you know, that this is an important part of the experience for our students. And how we establish ourselves as folks that belong I think is an important part of this. I think one of the things I'm actually learning is precisely the reason we want to avoid the issues that San Diego Unified is having, because the northern part of the city at San Diego Unified is having to export all the jobs because they refuse, export the work of ethnic studies to community colleges instead of offering an authentic ethnic studies course over on their site, which is something I am adamantly opposed of, because this proposal was specifically for high schools to be able to be enacted, not to outsource them to other entities. And for that reason, I applaud you and the district going forward early with this, because we need that capacity. I don't want to be in that situation where we're waiting to see what happens at the very end. As a practitioner, I thank you. As a participant of the board, I thank you. As a parent, I thank you.
Thank you, President Cepeda. I too want to say thank you for the presentation. A lot of times we are made to believe that we're different from each other, but we're more alike than we are different. Just this weekend, when we went out to dinner, we went to a Vietnamese place, and my nephews had never gone, and they were surprised. It's a lot of the similarities, the hot foods, and they would have never touched it if it wasn't for my wife and I, and they loved it. So it shows that as different cultures, yeah, we have different beliefs, different things, but in the end, we're all the same. We're all human beings, and we need to respect each other, and it's a beautiful thing. So just looking at that, at those surveys, I mean, the percentages are just amazing. I mean, it's just from 24 to 85, it's big difference. So and then getting to the 94%, it's like, wow. So I appreciate the work that you guys do, and keep it up. Thank you.
I like to say, as a practitioner with my littles, we did not do a full-blown ethnic studies program, but we did circle time. We had all of the class meetings. We had a program to discuss our feelings and their differences, and it was just like scratching the top of ethnic studies, but I do know that it made a big difference for the kids. The kids, because my class, I would call it our family. And just that concept, yes, we fight with our brothers and sisters, but we always get along and love each other. We still take care of each other, even though we may not agree. So you have my support, because I know the difference that ethnic studies does for kids, and not just kids of diverse racial backgrounds, but all kids. Yes.
If I may. I also want to extend my gratitude to Dr. Alvarez, Mr. Dumas, and Ms. Lizarraga. I think it's critically important when there's so many forces of division throughout our country and throughout our world, quite frankly, for us to be reinforcing this notion of inlakesh, of tú eres mi otro yo. For a long time, if we truly are talking about being inclusive and expansive, folks like are up here on this dais, the presenter, Mr. Dumas, we were not reflected in the canon of literature, in the canon of curriculum. And this is not to say the pre-existing canon has no place. It has its place, but this is taking a more expansive, indeed a more inclusive view to ensure we're realizing how more alike we are than how different we are. At a previous board meeting, somebody said, we all bleed red. That is true. Unfortunately, sometimes what people see first and foremost is the color of our skin. And for us to be able to acknowledge and get beyond that, it's important to have our students have those resources, have the tools to have that more inclusive discussion that sometimes can be a little uncomfortable and that sometimes can be challenging. But what is the point of an education than to enlighten and broaden our understanding of each other? So again, I want to extend my gratitude to our district and to our board for supporting this. And for those who may not necessarily agree with it, look, I respect and I understand that. But I believe that we choose to be more inclusive because I believe in inclusivity, and quite frankly, I believe we all do. So thank you to everybody.
Okay. All right, moving along. This is the point in the agenda where members of the public may address the board on any matter not on the agenda and have 3 minutes to do so. Pursuant to the board bylaw, the board may limit the time for public comment on any single topic to 20 minutes per topic. The Board of Trustees cannot legally take action on or respond to matters not posted on the public agenda, but will refer the matter to the superintendent's office for review and report. Speakers shall refrain from using profanity and shall speak in a respectful manner. Thank you for your cooperation. Clerk of the board, do we have?
Yes, Kathleen Cheers.
Diversity, equity, inclusion. Webster's definition of each is most positive, yet some are choosing to treat these powerful words as if they are a scourge. DEI now carries the same negative connotation as the letters IRS. Short story. I was raised never hearing either parent say anything synonymous with racism. I was my father's fair-haired child. Looked like him, blonde hair, blue-eyed. He proudly proclaimed I was his favorite. Yet 48 years ago, when I told him I was marrying a black man, he spat in my face and didn't speak to me for nearly 3 years. Then came the call. Kathleen, I don't agree with your choice, but I love you. And so began the Sunday dinners with the Cheers family. About 3 months in, while making his infamous potato salad, and as Cheers, that's what I call my husband, basted his ribs, my dad proclaimed, "You know, Cheers, you're really a pretty good guy. I just wish you weren't so dark." I think I stopped breathing. As I looked towards Cheers, he simply replied, "Thanks, Doc. I appreciate that. Not much I can do about the color." My dad came to know the man, no history, no heart, and my dad put aside the ignorance of his prejudicial opinions. In the year 2025, have we not grown enough as human beings that we see the value in our differences? We all want to be seen as equal, and we believe we are stronger when we are all included. Why is different considered by some to equate to bad? Prior to DEI, how many qualified persons were passed over or not considered simply because they were different from what many consider the norm? Their gender, their color, their orientation, their religion. We are becoming a society of judgmental fools, failing to realize our differences make us stronger. When we see each other as brother and sister, we are better. When we value and include all, we are made whole. Dr. Geary, I respectfully would recommend that Sweetwater no longer use the abbreviation DEI, but rather in word and writing say or spell out diversity, equity, inclusion. Off topic, but not really. If one of the 9 children I raised, not all mine, came home and told me a male teacher wearing fingernail polish made them feel uncomfortable, I would question whether I'd prepared them for the real world. Neither I nor any of my children have the God-given right to expect another person to adhere to our preferences. There is the saying, judge a man by the character of the soul, emphasizing assessing someone's true worth based on their inner qualities rather than superficial attributes or appearances. Teaching is a profession where our educators intentionally choose to serve others, in this case students, in hopes their service will help those who follow, will be made better and made stronger. Thank you.
David Boehm.
Good evening again. 2 things. I regret Trustee Emerald's not here because it was very heartened to hear her named as the first-term school board member of the year for the entire county, if I was understanding it right. I would challenge whether Ms. Davis would be the more appropriate nominee for that, but then you have to give it to a student each year, so I'd understand that. But she's had, so I've done my research on past board actions. I've been impressed both by her as a first-term board member, but by all of you coming into the situation you faced in the district, and by the district staff's amazing ability to recover from, I think, some of the most serious challenges you could ever have. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just offering my thanks and praise for you doing your parts to take care of the children that we have and help the community build. To that end, you heard some wonderful comments, I think, on parent engagement from DPAC and DLAC. I strongly echo them. I can't help but think, boy, that would be a good place to talk about ethnic studies. I might even try to pursue that a little bit. But I did want to point out that's where parent engagement, even if it takes time and effort, is something that can be driven by a proactive staff, by a proactive board, by proactive teachers and principals and others. The mistakes other districts have seen on ethnic studies, for example, where it's been withdrawn because of distrust or argued about in what in one case was a 7-hour board meeting that I don't think did anyone good except to satisfy some name calling, was a lack of parent engagement, was a lack of transparency, a suspicion about what's in this course or what's not in this course. We don't need that in this district. We're better than that. We have been for a long time, and I think under your leadership, we will be better than that. But in keeping with the message to stay together, to build ourselves together and not divide, it really does start with transparency. It's right up there in Goal 4, in LCAP, and it's there in everything we do. Building that transparency on some of the issues I've already mentioned, some from last time, and on all our issues, I think would be a very, very appropriate thing to prioritize, not just pursue. Thank you.
Iris Miranda.
Thank you, Superintendent, Board President, and School Board, members of the public for your time and attention. My name is Iris Miranda. I'm the Castle Park Senior Class President and soon to be California Golden Bear. Today, I am here representing hundreds of seniors, Trojans, along with schools across your district and our collective desire to make our graduation truly ours. The issue I bring to you today might appear to be minimal, and it is, but sometimes small gestures have a great impact. We, the seniors of Sweetwater Union High School District, request the district to change its graduation cap policy and allow us to decorate our caps for graduation. This is deeper than what color our cap should be and if our cap should have glitter or not. It's about making this accomplishment ours, something we've worked 4 hard years for and that kickstarts the rest of our lives. This moment is when we close a chapter and start a whole new one, something you've all been through. If students from all over the globe decorate their caps, then why can't we? As you are well aware, students at Castle Park High have recently brought the issue of immigration to your forefront and to your attention. While not all of us are activists, most of us come from an immigrant background, and we would like to give homage to that background. Let me tell you a little bit about my history. Both my parents are immigrants from Mexico or Honduras. Both didn't finish elementary school, so they never picked up a copy of Kindred, analyzed the poem, or even solved for X. They completely sacrificed everything. That they've known and their families to bring me here, to put me through school with just a little seed of hope, to make it to this moment, to wear a graduation cap and gown. That is not possible without the struggle of my father and a lot of our parents. Due to the work, my parents won't be able to be there at my graduation, so that's why I want to be able to have this little gesture, a symbol of the love and determination. We understand the reasons why the policy doesn't allow this, which is because some kids might abuse decorating caps. We understand that we're young and we might be reckless, but a lot of us have come together and have created a method onto keeping it appropriate and easy way for staff to enforce that. I know that graduation rehearsals haven't started yet, so we suggest that during the rehearsals, administrators provide the consequence of not walking with a cap during graduation if it is inappropriate imagery or language used on caps. The student leaders in attendance have agreed and that this is a reasonable and appropriate response if students were to cross the line. It would also help us become more responsible for our actions. We also understand that a lot of us come from low-income families, and you might be concerned for the students who aren't able to decorate their caps like the rest of the students. So throughout the year, our clubs have fundraised and put in hard work to make money for our class. And this would be considered another senior event. So if you guys were to say yes, we can start organizing a cap decoration day where we are responsible for supplying different art supplies to make everybody their cap their own.
Instead of separating us, this could be another event to bring us together. And for students who are renting their caps, there are many solutions, such as decorating a piece of cardboard to put over their cap for graduation that could easily be removed after, which we have brought an example of today. This method could also be required in general if you don't want students to have the consequence of not walking with the cap to keep them still the same as everybody else. We are ready to bring solutions to have this important choice of decorating our caps on our special day. We hope that you can see the importance that brings us here to stand in front of all of you and nicely ask for this small chance. You guys have the power to make our graduation the only graduation for some, so much more powerful and special for the families like mine who have sacrificed so much for their kids to go through your schools. This consideration also means a little more to our Castle Park seniors and other schools under construction, because due to the lack of field to graduate on, destruction of our senior lawn, and lack of a quad, this year has already been hard, but without our traditional senior experiences, this would alleviate the consistent bad news we received all year. With me today are other senior class leaders who have their own yet similar stories to what they want to represent on their special day. Thank you.
Elizabeth Lewinston Garcia.
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Aguirre, and district leadership. My name is Elizabeth Lewinston Garcia, and I'm proud to serve as the president of the Sweetwater Counseling and Guidance Association. On behalf of SCGA, I would like to express our sincere gratitude for our ongoing collaboration between our association and district leadership, especially in reaching a tentative agreement that prioritizes ideal working conditions for our school counselors. This agreement reflects our shared commitment to what is in the best interest of students and ensuring that counselors are supported and empowered to do their best work. We also want to extend our appreciation for the district's recognition of the growing need for mental health supports across our schools. The creation of the Coordinator of School Counseling and Mental Health Services is an important step forward. We believe that this role will strengthen the coordination of services and provide essential leadership to ensure that school counselors are equipped to meet the mental health needs of all of our students. It is our hope that this continued partnership will lead to even greater support for our counseling teams and ultimately for the students and families we serve. Thank you for your time, your collaboration, and your commitment to student well-being. Thank you.
Yumi Saiki.
Good evening, President Lopez Cepeda, Dr. Aguirre, trustees. My name is Yumi Saiki, and I'm a counselor at Launch Virtual Academy, as well as the co-vice president of SCGA. I want to begin by expressing my sincere thanks for your commitment to open communication over the past year. We may not have always been in full agreement, and that's to be expected when the work is meaningful. But I've appreciated the willingness to listen, to engage, and to keep students at the center of our conversations. These last few weeks in particular have been challenging. Emotions have been high, and there's been real uncertainty, not just among the counselors, but among the students and families we serve. It hasn't been easy, and I want to acknowledge that openly. But through it all, I continue to believe that we're on the same side, the side of our students, families, and this community. I believe that even in moments of disagreement, our shared purpose remains the same: to support young people, to give them the best possible foundation, and to do right by them every day. So thank you for the dialogue, for breaking bread, for your leadership, and for continuing to walk through the hard parts of this work with us. I hope we can continue to build on this together. Thank you.
Marco Amaral.
Ilakesh, Superintendent, Presidenta, members of the board. Thank you, Superintendent Aguirre and Board Member Rudy Lopez. In working with CPH Mecha students and advancing the safety of our immigrant students, let's continue to build off of those advancements. I come before you today not to speak about our immigrant student community, but our migrant student community. My research as a PhD student is the first ever study that seeks to understand the lived realities of transported youth with disabilities. My days consist of ethnographically appreciating the motions of our transporter youth. I wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning, I cross into Tijuana, get in line, wait for 2 or 3 hours, get on the trolley, then on the bus, and finally I start my workday. During this time, I'm either making copious memos, audio recordings, or conducting interviews. My data is very preliminary, as is. However, I'm driven to come before you today to express the profound love our transporter youth have for their education, for each other, for their familias and futures. Their resilience, especially during these difficult border times, is of great admiration. Our transporter youth with disabilities have to not only navigate increased xenophobia by border agents, but othering based on their perceived abilities or lack thereof. In today's world, a stutter at the border might land you in secondary inspection. A delay in response might increasingly be perceived as defiance. My methodological approach is called acompañamiento, to accompany. It implies a direct, rooted relationship with the participants of your study, essentially a methodology of solidarity. I'll make sure to share my findings with you all sometime in December, maybe late November, but please act now. Our transporter youth, whom also represent the economic bloodline of our district, need you to act immediately. Please reach out to our county supervisors, congressional representatives, and all interested parties to expand access to the student lanes. In a region with thousands of transporter youth, a capacity of 500 is a joke. To add insult to injury, the student lane costs $50 to access, a fee that the vast majority of our population can't afford. Maybe we can find a way to subsidize our youth. Can we think about specialized transportation for our especially vulnerable transporter youth? What does a transporter SUHSD resource center look like? Can we provide learning opportunities in transporter pedagogies to our teachers? These kids and their families sustain us all. Without them, none of us have a job. Our transport communities is what keeps Sweetwater afloat. That's maybe one of those secrets that are not said out loud, but that's the truth. We owe it to them to act with reciprocity, with love, with acompañamiento. Thank you.
Morgan Clark.
Good evening. I'm pretty sure all of you know me at this point, but just in case. My name is Morgan Clark. I'm here today in the capacity of an English teacher from Otay Ranch High School. It is the end of the year, and I'm sure many other English teachers and social science teachers are just as tired as I am. Not only because it is the end of the year, but because this year we have had to comb through so many final essays, projects, and assignments to ensure that students were not using AI to complete them. Teachers every day complain to me about the time and effort it takes for each assignment to ensure students are not using AI. At the beginning of the year, students would simply copy-paste their essays from ChatGPT and turn in the work as their own. Now their use of AI is getting more complex. Is this because they're learning how to responsibly use AI, as I've heard many people argue they would do? No, of course not. They're finding more complex ways to cheat using AI. They have ChatGPT write their essays, then they type them manually into the Google Docs. They run their essays through paraphrasers or other programs that allow them to pass through AI detectors. And let me be clear, students are not using it how they are supposed to, and I'm still not convinced those methods truly exist. Professors at colleges and universities, including our locals, Southwestern and SDSU, ban any use of AI in their classrooms. More and more studies, even since my last speech here in March, are coming out about the cognitive effects of AI. People who use AI for basic tasks are participating in what is called cognitive offloading, which means you are not practicing using your brain. One study out of Switzerland said one concern is the risk of cognitive dependence, where individuals become overly reliant on AI tools for routine and complex tasks. This dependence can lead to a decline in cognitive abilities, as individuals may lose the opportunity to practice and develop their own cognitive skills. Additionally, AI tools automating decision-making processes can result in a lack of transparency and understanding. When individuals rely on AI to make decisions, they may not fully understand the underlying processes and criteria used by the AI system. This black box problem can reduce critical engagement and accountability, as individuals may blindly trust AI recommendations without questioning or evaluating them. In fact, I have yet to see a study that shows any kind of use of AI improves students' understanding of material long term. A new study from Duke even suggests using AI damages professional reputations since people view colleagues as lazy or incompetent when they send emails obviously written by AI. There are many more resources I could list, but instead of listing study after study, I'll just ask the board to reflect on exactly how glorified chatbots make our students more college and career ready when the data is adding up to the contrary. I'm once again asking the board to ban large language models, paraphrasers, and similar AI tools for students, for their futures, for their educations, and for our sanity. Thank you.
No further speakers.
No further speakers. All right. Thank you for sharing. Clerk of the board, will you please? Okay, never mind.
No, you're correct. Please ask me again.
It's, oh my God, it is late. Clerk of the board, will you please read the items being pulled from the consent agenda?
Yes, I have one change to read on item F14. One of the settlements listed is being withdrawn from the item. It is for claim number 2024250013. So the item will be approved with just the two, not that one.
Okay.
The following items are pulled: F3 by staff and the public, F4 by the public, F5 by the public, F6 by staff and the public, F8 by the public, G16 by the public, G18 by the public, J1 by the public, J8 by the public, J13 and J14 by the public, K3 by staff, L2 by the public, and O1 by staff.
Okay.
So moved.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Arencibia?
Yes.
Lopez Zepeda?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 3 yes, 2 absent.
Okay, moving along. Report on board requests for information and policy direction, the staff and board communication.
I have-
F3, who would,
I have one
public.
speaker to this item if you'd like to hear the speaker first.
Yes.
David Bain?
Watch how quick this is. I was just wondering, and I mean this in the sense of opening a dialogue or making a suggestion, if this item could reflect some of the taskings or inquiries that are made by you in the last meeting, Ms. President, capturing the wording a little bit in very, very direct fashion. For instance, on the Ethnic Studies report, I feel like if it had been captured in the agenda as what the questions were that were being raised, particularly by myself and 2 other parents about world geography, the presentation might have been able to cover that as well. Again, I'm not offering that as a critique. I'm offering it as a suggestion for this board, if nothing else, to make it a little easier for parents and others to be able to do word searches on agendas and be able to find out when certain topics were discussed and receive the attention from the board. Just an idea. Thank you.
Okay.
No further speakers.
All right, who would like to share?
No, I think we got a long agenda, so I just want to say to you teachers, counselors, and classified staff and administration, I just want to say thank you. Students, take care of yourselves in terms of mental health. I appreciate all the work that everyone has done. My kids are in the grind mode right now, so I'm kind of just making food and just kind of looking at them nicely as much as I can, and my wife is being very supportive. But that said, this is the last meeting I'm going to have with my eldest as a school student in our district. So I want to congratulate them, and I just want to say thank you to all of the instructors that made this happen. Thank you to all of you, and get some rest, please, after this semester, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Arancibia, for those words. And yes, thank all the teachers, counselors, and everybody who has worked hard this year to make our students better people. I just want to go over a little bit about the Washington, D.C. trip. Ms. Cepeda will have more, because I missed the meeting with our representative, Juan Vargas, because our plane was leaving, so we had to get to the airport. But we did have a speaker, Dr. David Fontana, a constitutional law lawyer, constitutional law professor from George Washington University. One thing that I appreciated that he said there are lawful things you can do, and then there are awful things you can do. And what this administration is doing are awful things, not very lawful things. One thing that he mentioned was mandatory expenses by Congress and discretionary expenses by Congress. So one thing that I left there thinking, knowing that Title I, most of our title money should be okay because they need 60% of the votes to pass it, and I don't think our Democratic Congress members will vote for such cuts. So I feel pretty confident that those should be okay. So the discretionary ones are the ones that are a little scary. I know Head Start, I know we don't do Head Start, but it'll affect our students as they come to our middle schools and high schools. So cutting that, it would be devastating. I know I heard that the state was going to take over, but I don't know how much funding and how many students are going to be able to take in with such a big chunk, which is what, 3 billion or something like that. Or, yeah, so it'll be that. So, but that's one thing that I came out with pretty good about. And he said the reason that we are in this position is because the executive branch, this branch has stepped up, but the legislative branch has stepped back. So we need them to step up and take control a little more. Good luck with that. Yes, thank you. I know the wishful thinking, but yeah. So we'll just leave it at that. And yeah, so that was one of the things that I'm sure Ms. Peda will have more on the meeting that she had with our representative, Mr. Juan Vargas. And also thank you to all the mothers for what you do, whether you have children or not. If you're a mother figure, thank you for really being there for the kids. And it really, I know, the way I see things is we men have been in charge of this world for a long time, and we've made a mess of it. So I know if women were in charge, it might be a little different, and not might, but it would be a little different. But mothers are just amazing, so thank you all for what you do, the loving care you have for your children, other children, and your families.
Okay. Alrighty. So it was a really, really busy time because I attended several events: the Adult School Resource Fair, the Adelanta Mujer, the Black Student Union Rite of Passage, again, the Coast to Coast advocacy trip to Washington, D.C., where I met with legislators. Very interesting, very different feel in Washington itself from last year. Totally different. Very distrustful, silent. I was on a metro, and could you believe that there was no one talking on the metro? Complete silence. Never had I seen that. Anyway, in our advocacy, we advocated for continued funding for special education, getting those funds fulfilled, and they said, don't hold your breath, but it is what it is. The different ESSER funds, the Title I, II, III, IV, V, disadvantaged students, teacher recruitment, professional development, second language acquisition or English learners, mental health, teacher recruitment, and then the last one is providing gifted activities for advanced students, advanced opportunities. And I'm sorry, but some of that funding has already been cut. And that was nothing that we can do. Something else that we really, really emphasized was the meals, the universal meals funding, nutritional, possibly, finding our own vendors so don't have to go with the government-specific vendors because they're usually more expensive than if we went to someone locally. So, and then funding for the rural districts and the infrastructure. That's the constant. we have a great congressperson, which is Juan Vargas, and he is with us. He is with us. He supports us. He knows. He knows our community itself, so he understands our needs. So that is wonderful. Like I said, it was eye-opening. There weren't as many people, and even at the Capitol, everything was blocked off. There was more gates, and at the White House, the fence got taller. I couldn't believe that. And barricades around the White House, barricades around the Capitol building. I set off, I don't know how many alarms. I'm serious, with my titanium disc now. You never know. But yeah, it was very busy, very challenging, but you know what? We are going to be persistent and keep going. Anything else?
President Speda, if I may, I forgot one thing with regards to Miss Iris Miranda and her asking us politely about the caps. If we can look into that, I think that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So moving along, F4, public.
Yes, I have one speaker, David Boehm.
I really didn't know I was going to be using up so much of your time, so I apologize in advance. But two particular legislative issues I wanted to make sure we had at least shared across the dais. First, on AB 101, the mandating legislation for ethnic studies, as you may have heard, the funding for that is not in the current state budget. And from both private conversations I've had with the Department of Education and with state legislative staff, as well as some public commentary, it doesn't look like it's going to be in that funding is going to be available. AB 101, the requirements for ethnic studies, both for the course offerings and the graduation requirements in the state, does not come into effect unless the funding is included in the budget. That's in the law. I'm not saying that is a reason for Sweetwater to stop. I am saying that if funding is a question, as it seems to be with regard to world geography as an offering, it's worth considering that as we go ahead, and with another change in graduation requirements coming for the class of 2031 on financial literacy. But that's this particular legislative issue requiring, once again, the board and the district staff to address very tough issues. I would suggest the best way to address them are with maximum flexibility that creates options rather than limiting options. The other piece of legislation I wanted to point out was AB 1468, which is still in draft, but is looking more and more serious, has local support from several of our representatives. That provides for an advisory committee to look again at the state model curriculum for ethnic studies by January 2028, and perhaps more relevantly for this board, would require local education agencies, such as our district, to provide by July 2026, quote, all curricula, instruction, and instructional materials in ethnic studies that its schools offer for pupils in any of grades 9 to 12 inclusive, and for the California Department of Education to post that information on its website. At present, you cannot access curricula for ethnic studies on district websites. I imagine for very good reasons related to the protection of curriculum and the integrity of curricula. But if the state is going to require it in July 26 and post it anyway, I would again suggest the maximum look at transparency to share that would be very useful. Now, why did all that come about? Because of charges of anti-Semitism in the state model curriculum. That, I am happy to say, is not something I think we have to worry about in this district. As you saw in the Must-Sees newsletter, Bonita Vista High, their Israel Club hosted a presentation on the price of hate, lessons from the Holocaust. I would also note a documentary made by a local San Diego filmmaker called Tijuana Jews that tells the story of Jews who fled Nazi Germany and settled in Tijuana. It's a wonderful, wonderful piece from what I can see. Is it timely? Is it relevant? I would just suggest take a look at the current president of Mexico and her spiritual beliefs. There's a lot to work with on the positive side here. Thank you.
All right. Any others for F4?
No.
Okay, moving along.
Oh.
Oh, wait. Motion?
That's it, a motion to approve.
Second. Oh, he made it there, thank you. It's just a report item, but it should
Yeah.
just be to accept the report. Arencibia?
Yes.
Lopez Zepeda?
Yes.
Solis? Motion passes 3 yes, 2 absent.
Okay. F5?
I have one speaker, Kathleen Shears.
I am voicing my objection to this increase with the exception of our student body representative. I view trustees who sit on this board as those willing to provide community service pro bono. Pro bono, the Latin phrase meaning for the public good. Additionally, considering the federal budget cuts we are facing and the undetermined potential state cuts, why are we not saving each and every dollar for those you are here to champion for our students? Unlike our student representative who has many responsibilities weighing on her, including maintaining a GPA, testing, meeting with other ASB presidents, while championing for her fellow classmates. Again, serving as a trustee should be just that, serving your community. Contrary to the wording in the 4th paragraph of the analysis, supports district needs while maintaining fiscal responsibility and approaching total compensation that recognizes the district's current local, state, and federal economic realities. My opinion, this is not a responsible position. Respectfully, there is no need for further pontification justifying the expense. I simply do not agree. As you all know, I've been coming to these board meetings forever. I have never seen so many increases for board as this group. Thank you very much. Not you specifically, but collectively.
No further speakers.
Move to approve.
Second?
Arencibia?
Yes.
Lopez Zepeda?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 3 yes, 2 absent.
Okay. Item F6, public.
Yes, I have one speaker, Kathleen Shears.
Respectfully, is there any consideration of the fact that John Q. Public has to read and decipher the legal jargon of these agenda items? I read this agenda item several times and still did not understand, even after reading the attachment, which appeared to present as an increase with nothing in the blanks. Yes, I am 75, but I'm a pretty sharp 75. And while I often joke about it, my purple shampoo and conditioner have not done any damage to my brain. Then there is the fact that hard dollar amounts were not provided. Respectfully, Ms. Lopez Zepeda, as board president, since it was you who apparently brought this forward, what is the amount? What will the yearly salary be precisely, and what will the new salary be? Yes, we the taxpayers are able to research individual salaries on Transparent California, but why should we have to? I am alluding to the fact that I'm not in favor of this increase. Dr. Gary, I recognize how hard you work. But when I consider the cuts to student curriculum that have been approved, the future budget concerns, I simply in good conscience could not speak in favor of this expense. Thank you very much.
No further speakers.
I brought this item forward because of the work that has occurred in this district under the leadership of our superintendent. Since I've been on, this is my 3rd year, we have had financial certifications that are in the positive. We have increased lots of changes. We have the bond, which is bringing on lots of construction, not just on the east or just on the west, but across the district. Lots of changes are coming. Teachers, CTE teachers have moved on to a schedule similar to the regular classroom teacher, in which they now have a more livable wage, as well as adult school teachers. Lots of positive change. We have no rifts, reduction in force, notifications. this year, and then we had a limited amount the last year. Nobody is losing their jobs. Everybody is still gainfully employed. Everybody in the district is getting the raise. Every single employee. So it should be across the board because it's under the leadership. Would you guys to add some more stuff?
No, I just want to say, if you look at every other district in the county, I think we're number 2, number 3, one of 2 or 3 schools in the entire county that is literally in the black for 3 years. That aren't laying off folks. That alone, right now, it allows me to sleep because I know we're on the right path. What is our certification for Moody's now AAA? When we were, are we in AAA, Dr. Sakam? Yeah. And when I got here, what was it, 4 and 5 years ago, we were being investigated by the SEC. These are things that, I'm sorry, I mean, I hope more folks get on the bus. And that's all I gotta say in the community and understand what kind of transformation that is. And I'm gonna make the motion to approve. Unless you have something to say, Arturo.
No, you guys covered it. I'll second.
We actually need the motion to include what terms such as salary and wages you are modifying in the agreement.
Jenny?
I wanted to, I always take credit for the legalese, so I apologize for that. Mrs. Cheers, under the Bell case, making a recommendation that more than one member of the board would have known potentially would have been seen as a violation. So what we have to do is make a blank for what salary is and for what term is, and they have the right to make others, but based on healthcare that was just adopted, that's already covered in the contract. So the 2 big terms that potentially Ms. Cepeda-Lopez and I had put out there to make sure we put the major terms there, our salary and our term. And so I think what is put forth in the board item, y'all can do anything you want or nothing at all, but what we did was line out based on where Ms. Cepeda-Lopez's suggestion of providing the exact same thing that we gave to all of our bargaining units. The agenda's ordered a little differently. If you'll notice, the next item is our counselors, who are our last bargaining unit, that are fully formed with an agreement that haven't had an agreement. The next item thereafter was our administrators, our principals and assistant principals via an agreement to deal with wages and benefits based on the fact that they don't have an agreement and we're not gonna wait a year to do something. The next item is every other member of the management team. The next is your 9 mighty confidential employees. Then was the board, and then is the presentation for Dr. Aguirre. So you as a board, any motion that you pass would indicate what, if any, salary increase you are interested in, and what, if any, term. As you know, the law allows for a 4-year term, and generally speaking, that is where we are. You have already passed something that takes us to 2027 on Dr. Aguirre's contract, so legally, you could extend up to 2 more years for that purposes. And then on salary, you have the ability to do anything or nothing, and obviously, you already had an evaluation window, which is another term called for in the contract. So from that is the legal background, and I'll turn it back over to President Lopez Cepeda to make the motion she was looking to make.
Okay, so then the motion I'm going to go to the bottom part where I would like to extend the employment until June 30th of 2029. Okay? And the base salary, I don't know what his base salary is, so it has to be written in, and based on his base salary, he will get the 2.75% for this school year, and then 1.25 for the next school year.
I think it's
Do you
reversed.
mean that would be on June 30th at 11:59 p.m.?
I have to say all of that?
Yeah, you would, or you could say Please provide the superintendent what you have just approved for bargaining unit members, plus a 2-year term extension.
Okay, that's a lot easier. Please provide the superintendent what every other employee in the district is receiving and an extension, a 2-year extension of his employment contract.
I second that. Is that enough, Diane?
Yes. Arencibia?
Yes.
Lopez Cepeda?
Yes.
Solis? Motion passes 3 yes, 2 absent.
Oh, it's me. Okay. G?
No, ma'am, F8?
F8.
Oh, gosh, I'm trying to move ahead. Okay, F8, public.
One speaker, Kathleen Cheers.
I'm speaking in favor of this agenda item many moons ago, and I mean many, many, as a senior at Hilltop High. My father re-enlisted in the Navy. He had retired after 25 plus years serving as a corpsman, which is a male nurse. Back in the day, the Vietnam War, the actual battlefields were shown on the 6 o'clock news. My dad saw the young men suffering from the battles, and so he re-enlisted. The oldest man to complete survival camp training at the time. Off he went in my senior year. I was a wreck. As he had shared, if anything happened, it was up to me to step up and help my mom with my siblings. I knew the casualty risk was high and potential for him not to return alive. It was a counselor who helped me get through that senior year. I was constantly anxious, depressed, and stressed. Truth be told, having my counselor to guide me made all the difference. I have shared the story to say counselors are most important, probably more so today than then. Today's world is far more difficult. Yet ever since I became a constant in this boardroom, dating back to Brand 1 many moons ago, I've witnessed counselors having to justify their importance. I simply don't understand. Our counselors are highly trained, as are our teachers. Their charge responsibilities many. Let us not lose sight of their important role. Ms. Carbuccia, thank you for that clarification. It was most helpful. My feathers are ruffled. Respectfully, I do not need a tutorial of the many, many accomplishments of Dr. Aguirre, but I do have the right, as a tax-paying citizen, to speak my mind without being taken to the woodshed. That is not a good look for Mrs. Cheers to receive. Thank you very much, all.
I apologize, I misspoke. I have another speaker, Elena Viejo Paez.
Thank you, Ms. Cheers. Shout out to the counselors. Good evening, President Lopez Cepeda, board members, Dr. Geary, and members of the community. I'll try to make this short because I know it's a long night. My name is Elena Vallejo Paez, and I am a counselor and proud SCGA member. I've also been a part of the SCGA bargaining team since 2021. The bargaining process is not what I would call fun, but it is important work. This time around was especially brutal with an open contract and starting total of 23 articles that were open. In total, we spent almost a year in negotiations, and we reached a tentative agreement on 21 articles that I hope both sides are proud of. I want to publicly thank the district bargaining team and Dr. Aguirre for their willingness to engage in good faith dialogue and to put students at the forefront of our negotiations. Thank you.
Thank you.
No further speakers.
Okay. Motion?
So moved. Second.
Arencibia?
Yes.
Lopez Cepeda?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 3 yes, 2 absent.
Okay. G16, public.
I have 2 speakers, Kathleen Cheers.
This is the first part of that speech on ethnic studies. For the life of me, I do not understand why an ethnic studies program would result in such angst with some within the Sweetwater community. Contrary to the curriculum taught in the late 60s when I was a student at Hilltop High, Columbus did not discover America. Indians, many tribes of them, inhabited our lands from the east to the west. The persons who looked like me believed they were the civilized ones and attempted to save the Indians, yet in truth, what they did to the Indians was an abomination. Blacks were chained in the bows of ships like cattle carried across the ocean, resulting in slavery. Its inhumanity nearly tore this nation apart. Catholic missionaries, I am Catholic, too believed the Indians needed to be saved. They required tribes to abandon their territories and live in filthy, disease-ridden, crowded labor camps. Our nation placed Japanese Americans in internment camps, fearing they would commit espionage and sabotage. The Holocaust did happen. The mass graves of bones are proof of that deplorable reality. This is part of our human history, yet some prefer we simply whitewash it with nonsensical jargon. Spewing fear it will cause white students to feel less than. They want to play the "it will divide our students" card. Might it be that we whites fear becoming the minority? Ding, 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 I think I hit a bullseye. If we as people want to grow, then we must learn from the errors of our past. We must take those historical hard lessons, own them, recognize the importance of learning from them. To do so will only empower us as people, make us better as humans. We as adults teach our children to learn from their mistakes, not to hide from them or pretend the error did not happen. I have used polite words here, but we all know the truth behind the world's history includes rape, torture, hanging, stripping children from their parents, indoctrination. Are we endeavoring to raise knowledgeable, intelligent human beings? Or are we sticking our fingers in our ears and singing la 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 as if it didn't happen? True history will empower our youth, teach them empathy and understanding of those who are different from them. Parents, it is not our charge to raise our children to be good human beings in some areas, but is it not in some areas better than we were? We do so by empowering them with the truth, thereby providing them with the tools, aka knowledge, to never return to the historical errors of the past. These are powerful lessons to be learned from history. Why are some running from those lessons? Thank you.
David Boehm.
And the good news is I'm going to combine my comments on G16 and G18, so you won't have to hear me twice at least. First, just a question that I'll be happy to take up with district staff, but the amount was important enough that I wanted to note. Some of the same books on this agenda item's purchase order and on the purchase order in G18 are the same. I don't know if it's a paperback, hardback issue or something, but since the total of the two items, if my math is correct, comes to $243,000, that's a considerable set of purchases, especially given the overall budget for ethnic studies. If I'm doing my math right, it's something like 20%. I'm not questioning the wisdom of buying all the materials needed for ethnic studies curricula. That's great. I just would like to know, why are we buying the same book from two different dealers rather than maybe in one dealer where we might be able to get more of a quantity discount? I'm sure I'm missing something. Much more importantly, though, I wanted to draw your attention, particularly in this item, and my compliments and gratitude to the district staff for buying not only English language texts, but Spanish language texts of the same book. That is great to see. That is great to see as a model I hope will continue to expand even at higher cost in other subjects related to ethnic studies, in history, in literature, in government, in civics. And as the parent of two kids who like to get help on their homework, I would love it if they read the same book in ethnic studies and literature from two different angles, but have read the book once and saved some time. So again, my thanks, though, sincere thanks to the district. This is the kind of thing that I think really helps move the agenda forward on all the issues that were just raised, whether it's in an ethnic studies curriculum or not. And I did want to just note, over $200,000 on the same books might be worth one more review. Thank you.
No further speakers.
Dr. Alvarez, would you like to address the purchases?
Good evening. Yes, thank you. It's just the number of books that are available at each of the vendors.
Okay, that's what I assumed. Okay, so that was G16?
We have to move to approve, right?
Yes, sir.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Arencibia?
Yes.
Lopez Zepeda?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 3 yes, 2 absent.
G18?
Kathleen Cheers?
Respectfully, I'm not in favor of any consultant agenda item returning to the board for additional monies. Now, I'm willing to state that maybe it's my ignorance I'm not thoroughly understanding here. Now, I read this summary, and speaking frankly, I learned nothing from it. Increasing the cultural proficiency of staff and students, student-centered events that create optimum equity-driven learning. What is
Sorry, this is G18 on ethnic studies textbook?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I
Okay.
apologize. That was,
You had comments from the last one?
yes,
Okay.
I mean, yes, ma'am. Yeah.
No more comments? And then you
No.
did yours earlier. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Arencibia?
Yes.
Lopez Zepeda?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 3 yes, 2 absent.
G20?
We already did that one.
J1?
I have one speaker, Kathleen Shears.
Sorry, Mr. Moore, you have to listen to me start all over again. Respectfully, I am not in favor of any consultant agenda item returning to the board for additional monies. As I said, I may not have a thorough understanding. Now, I read the summary, and speaking frankly, I learned nothing from it. I am Polish, so let me put that out there. Increasing the cultural proficiency of staff and students, student-centered events that create optimum equity-driven learning. What does that mean in layman's terms? Where is the descriptive painting of the how? In fairness to Dr. Moore, while I normally reach out to the authors of agenda items, I did not reach out to Dr. Moore in this case. I normally do. Not out of disrespect, but rather in hopes my request for details might serve members of the community endeavoring to learn where and how our tax dollars are being spent, and in hopes future agenda items authored by all district management personnel will provide far more descriptive detail. I challenge you to read that and come up with anything more than I did. Thank you very much.
No further speakers.
Dr. Moore, would you like to address?
Good evening, Board, and thank you for the question. This agenda item in particular, Dr. Harley's contract was approved earlier this year, and the work that Dr. Harley is engaged in spans in a lot of our schools, in particular Otay Ranch High School. He's worked with Eastlake High School and with our district staff. He is one of the key factors in our rites of passage as well as our RISE conference. The reason for the extension was primarily two parts. One is Dr. Harley worked an extensive number of hours beyond his original contract, and two is there were other consultants that were approved by this board that were not utilized this year. One of them had to go on an emergency leave, and she was not utilized, and another one of our consultants simply wasn't available to address the issues that Dr. Harley has some specific expertise in, and so Dr. Harley was used in those consultants' places. And so it just so happened that as we came to the conclusion of this year, there were some overages that we needed to address and ensure that we were able to pay Dr. Harley at his rate throughout the end of this year.
Thank you. Motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
Arencibia? Lopez Zepeda?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 3 yes, 2 absent.
J8, public.
I have one speaker, Kathleen Shears.
I pulled this item with the intent to water the plant of the seed I've been sowing for a few years now. It is time to look for a fresh set of eyes regarding future audits. One of the most important best practices for audits is the mandatory lead auditor rotation every 5 years. When the lead auditor changes, they must start from scratch with their client, which means no long-standing relationship is intact. I've done a great deal of research on this topic, no surprise, and my recommendations are based on that research. As a taxpayer and community member who was involved with the prior financial debacle, I'm quite confident my recommendation will prove to serve not only we taxpayers, but the district as well. Respectfully, I know what the law mandates. I'm speaking to best transparent practices. Dr. Moore, you summarized that excellently. If I could respectfully recommend that next time you put that in writing, and then I won't be calling on you. Thank you, sir, very much.
No further speakers?
Okay.
President, real quick, President Lopez, if it's okay. And I have brought it up in our meeting with regards to Crow, with the understanding that I know we're supposed to switch, but if you can give that explanation to the public.
Yes, so on this one, while I could wax poetic, I won't steal Dr. Salkeld's thunder, so I'll ask her to kind of describe for us why she's bringing this forward and why this is an important aspect of the auditing work. There are some unique attributes as to why this is coming forward at this time. Dr. Salkeld.
Thank you and good evening. So this particular item is being brought forward because it's the focused work on the Measure RR. So that is a new issuance that was issued in March as a result of the taxpayer approval back in November. So when the initial RFP was done with Crow 2 years ago, this wasn't part of that. So we're bringing back this particular change. So we do go through an RFP process every 5 years. I mean, we had Crow previously for the 5 years, and so we went through that process. We solicited, went out to market, and then we went through a review process, and they were selected. In relation to the partner, there is a rotation that happens. Kevin Smith was the former partner, and through with the new process with the most recent award, now it is Elizabeth South. So they do change their primary partner.
And what is the significance of changing the partner?
Again, that's their own internal processes too. Again, it's that second set of eyes. Then that way they have those procedures of having leadership that changes and provides different perspective and guidance.
Perfect. Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Oh, go ahead.
Arencibia?
Yes.
Lopez Zepeda?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 3 yes, 2 absent.
J13?
The card was actually pulled for 13 and 14. Are you speaking on them together, Mrs. Cheers? Ms. Kathleen Cheers for J13 and 14.
I pulled this item out of frustration. We as community members hear of instances like this, and we cannot help but feel as something somewhere is broken. On this issue, the district is not broken. The teachers nor admin are broken. What is broken is the accountability parents hold their children to. Trustees, it is time for you to call for change, time for you to champion for accountability. In situations like this and many others, if the persons involved are identified, what are the consequences levied on the students? Are they permanently banned from returning to the district? Can parents be held responsible? Why do I see Sweetwater students all over our community meandering to school 30 minutes late, sometimes an hour late, as if it's not important to arrive on time? Sitting outside a Starbucks as if it is a late Saturday morning. Are there true consequences for tardies, bullying, or another student, or disrespect of a teacher? If not, why not? Respectfully, trustees, perhaps you might want to visit your schools and speak to the teachers, ask for their recommendations of how to enforce what we call rules, bring back accountability. Little do these parents realize their enabling has the potential to result in their little darling failing at being an adult. My middle-class, hardworking parents enabled my younger brothers. I often joke and say aliens came down and implanting enabling into the brains of the hardcore Francis and Bill, who raised my sister and I. My 6-year younger brother, Bill, died from kidney failure due to alcohol and drug abuse. My 7-year younger brother, Bob, is currently serving life without the possibility of parole at the notorious Pelican Bay State Prison. He will die in prison. My parents made every excuse, listened to all of his lame reasons why he did wrong. I love my brother dearly. I support him financially in prison, but he deserves to be where he is. I do not blame my parents for his crime. That was his choice. They did, however, have ownership in their lack of parenting. Truth, if they would have put in the work to raise them versus enable them, the results would have been far different. Trustees, it's time to take the babysitting out of the classroom so teachers can return to educating. Parents of those students endeavoring to learn are more frustrated with the status quo. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No further speakers?
Okay, motion for J13 and J14. Could we do them together?
So moved.
Arencibia?
Yes.
Lopez Zepeda?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 3 yes, 2 absent.
K3?
K3 is pulled because it is a requirement of the declaration of need that the item not be approved as part of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Okay. L2.
I'm sorry, you have to complete the motion.
Oh, motion.
Second.
Thank you. Arencibia?
Yes.
Lopez Cepeda?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 3 yes, 2 absent.
L2.
I have one speaker, Kathleen Shears.
Bond language of Prop B, B, and O dating back to 2003 included, amongst other things, asbestos removal. In 2006, district employee George Gerber advised his supervisors there were safety concerns with asbestos in the heating walls HVAC system throughout the district. Thus began tumultuous times for Mr. Gerber, resulting in a lawsuit. Here we are in 2025, 22 years later, with an agenda item to remove asbestos hazmat expenses. In August of 2011, the Voice of San Diego on KPBS reported, and I quote, nearly a decade ago, 2001, the state flagged thousands of school buildings as a risk if when an earthquake hits. Sweetwater was one of the districts who failed to report back to the state the findings of those inspections if they were ever done. When KPBS and The Voice asked for copies a few years later of the safety reports, none were provided. It is May of 2025. Nearly all of our high schools have new football fields. We have a state-of-the-art aquatic center, yet have failed to meet safety concerns district-wide. Asbestos in walls, old HVAC heating systems, undoubtedly unaware employees affected over these many years, not to mention students. Can you imagine what is in the walls of the SUHSD buildings? Can you imagine what has been found at Castle Park High? What will be found at Bonita Vista High? Then there is Chula Vista High, that 2-story old building. Has it been retrofitted? For years, I have questioned not only this board's commitment to common sense projects, but the board's dating back to Prop BB, time and time again. Lipstick on a pig has been the district's direction. This is no way against Ms. Quirk. In fairness, I have hope. It is my understanding Castle Park High is preparing for new buildings, as my sources there advise. But, Trustee Solis, what of SUHSD? While their athletics are grade A, the original buildings are most definitely a bacteria-infested death trap. I am the Sweetwater Union High School District historian. God forbid an earthquake strikes and the hair on even one of our students or employees is hurt. If you want to talk about liability, thank you very much.
No further speakers.
Okay, item L2, motion.
So moved.
Second.
Arencibia?
Yes.
Lopez Cepeda?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 3 yes, 2 absent.
And everything should go through.
01?
One?
01 was pulled so that the student could abstain, but
Yeah.
she's not here.
Okay, motion to approve 01.
So moved.
Second.
Arencibia?
Yes.
Lopez Cepeda?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 3 yes, 2 absent.
And with that, the meeting is over.